Every evening, when you sit down to eat, your dog appears. Silent, still, watching your fork with those eyes that make you feel like the worst person alive. And you've always thought they just want your food. They don't. They've been asking you a question. The same question. Every single night for their entire life. And you've been answering it, without knowing the conversation was even happening. Most owners assume they understand this. They feed their dog, they walk them, they love them, and that feels like the full picture. But the moments that reveal the deepest truth about what your dog feels about you, those happen right here, at the dinner table, while you're eating, while your guard is completely down, while you're not paying attention. By the end of this, you'll never sit down to eat without knowing exactly what your dog is seeing, feeling, and asking. And number one is going to change the meaning of every meal you've ever shared with them. If you're new here, subscribe right now. This channel exists for one reason, to show you what your dog has been trying to tell you all along. These aren't begging behaviors. They're not habits to train away. But if you keep reading them that way, dismissing the stare, moving them out of the kitchen, ignoring the eyes, you'll spend years missing a conversation that was never about food in the first place. A dog who stops appearing at dinner isn't trained. A dog who stops watching your fork isn't content. A dog who stops showing up at your feet when you eat is a dog who stopped asking. And by the time most owners notice that absence, they realize the conversation ended a long time ago. Here are the 7 reasons your dog stares at you while you eat, and what they've been trying to tell you every single time. 1. The ancient program. You've always assumed the stare is about food. And yes, part of it is. That part is real. But it's only the surface of what's happening. And that assumption misses almost everything underneath it. Researchers at the University of Chicago's Evolutionary Biology Department documented that domesticated dogs share a scavenging neural pathway with their wolf ancestors, one that activates, specifically in the presence of human food consumption. What makes this remarkable is that it fires identically regardless of whether the dog is actually hungry. A dog with a full bowl in the kitchen runs the same ancient program as a dog who hasn't eaten all day. Because the trigger isn't hunger, the trigger is you eating near them. You don't need to stop eating near your dog, you just need to stop calling this greed. What you're watching isn't selfishness, it's a program tens of thousands of years old, running exactly as designed. When your dog sits perfectly, still and watches your fork without moving a muscle, they're not a beggar. They're an ancient creature, still tethered to the campfire, still running the ritual that kept their ancestors alive for 40,000 years. But the next reason has nothing to do with food, and it reveals exactly what your presence at that table means to them every single day. 2. The sacred appointment. Think about your dog's day from their perspective. You leave, you come back, you move between rooms, you disappear behind closed doors. From their point of view, you are almost entirely unpredictable. Almost. Research on canine circadian behavior, published in the journal Veterinary Behavior, found that domesticated dogs track owner routines with the same neurological precision as time-trained animals, mapping the sequence, location, and duration of human daily rituals into an internal calendar. In multi-dog household studies, dogs were observed positioning themselves near the kitchen an average of 23 minutes before their owner began cooking, not reacting to smell or sound, reacting to time. You don't need to change anything about dinner. You just need to understand what sitting down at that table signals to your dog's nervous system. Mealtime is the one appointment in their entire day. That never changes. Every evening, in the same place, at the same time, you will be completely still, completely reachable, completely theirs for 20 minutes. That is not routine to them. That is sacred. When your dog appears the moment you pull out a chair, before the plate is even on the table, they're not responding to smell. They're responding to you, the most predictable, most reliable version of you that exists in their world. The third reason goes even deeper, because it's not about where you are, it's about what your face does when you eat, and your dog has been studying it for years. 3. The face they love most. When you eat, your face changes. The tension in your jaw softens, your shoulders drop. The version of you that exists during work, during stress, during the 100 small frustrations of a normal day, that version disappears completely. Your dog doesn't just notice this, they've been cataloging it since the day they came home. Research from Alexandra Horowitz at the Horowitz Dog Cognition Lab at Barnard College demonstrated that dogs identify a minimum of 4 distinct human emotional expressions, distinguishing anger, fear, happiness, and neutral states, with a recognition accuracy of 88%. A 2015 study in Current Biology confirmed that dogs process human facial expressions using left hemisphere lateralization, the same neural pattern humans use, indicating deep evolutionary tuning to our emotional states. Specifically, you don't need to perform a happier version of yourself at dinner. Your dog isn't comparing you to anyone. They just notice the specific moment your armor comes off. The face you wear when you eat, relaxed, content, quietly present, is one of your dog's favorite versions of you. When they watch your fork, part of what they're watching is your jaw soften, your eyes lighten, the small smile at the corner of your mouth when something tastes good. To them, that face is a reward, and they only get to see it a few times a day. The next reason reaches back 40,000 years, because your dog isn't just reading your face. They're running a silent inventory of your entire household, and it completes before you finish your first few bites. 4. The pack inventory. If you've ever noticed your dog watch you intensely for the first few minutes of a meal, and then quietly lie down nearby, you probably thought they gave up on getting food. They didn't give up. They finished. Ethologist Adam Miklosi at Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest, whose research on canine-human coevolution is among the most cited in the field, documented that domestic dogs retain full wolf pack vigilance behaviors during human food consumption, monitoring the alpha's eating, status, scanning for threat indicators, and confirming resource adequacy before settling. His 2013 paper in Trends in Cognitive Sciences describes this as status confirmation behavior, an involuntary threat assessment that has survived. 40,000 years of domestication completely intact. You don't need to include your dog in dinner rituals. You just need to understand what the 4-minute stare at the start of every meal actually is. When your dog lies down quietly midway through your dinner, they haven't lost interest. They've confirmed everything they came to confirm. Leader is fed, food exists, pack is intact, world is safe. And now, finally, they can rest. But the 5th reason is the one that's going to make you laugh, and then feel a little exposed. Because your dog has been running controlled experiments on you for years, and they already know exactly what the results say. 5. The experiment. Your dog knows exactly when you're going to share. They knew last Thursday, they know tonight, they knew 6 months ago. This isn't charm, this is data. Julianne Kaminsky at the University of Portsmouth published research in animal behavior demonstrating that dogs adjust their solicitation behavior, eye contact, proximity, vocalization, in real time based on tracked human attention states. In follow-up experiments, dogs modified their begging strategy based on past success rates with specific individuals, optimizing their approach. Within 4 to 6 repetitions, what Kaminsky's team described was, in effect, behavioral A/B testing. Your dog running controlled experiments and updating their approach based on the results you gave them. You don't need to feel manipulated. You need to feel impressed. This is your dog applying the same adaptive learning mechanism that allowed their ancestors to survive alongside the most complex species on the planet. Your dog already calculated there's a higher probability you'll share by bite 6 than by bite 2. They already know Sunday dinners are more generous than Tuesday ones. They already know the exact face you make right before you reach down. And somewhere inside, you kind of love that they figured you out completely. The second reason is older than any of this, because it's not about food, it's not about behavior science, it's about a ceremony your dog has been performing at your feet every single night, one you never knew how to name. 6. The ritual of belonging. You've probably noticed this. If you eat in a different room, close a door, take your plate to your desk, disappear somewhere private, your dog becomes distressed, scratches at the door, waits, paces, won't settle. Most owners assume that's about missing out on food. A landmark 2015 study published in Science by Miho Nagasawa and colleagues at Azabu University in Japan documented that mutual gaze between dogs and their owners triggers a bidirectional oxytocin release, the same hormonal bonding mechanism that operates between human mothers and their infants. The researchers found this bond is reinforced not just through play and touch, but through shared presence during daily routines. Mealtime appeared in participant observation data as the most frequently cited shared routine. More than walks, more than play, more than sleep. Proximity.you. Don't need to change where you eat. You just need to understand that when you close that door, your dog isn't being excluded from food. They're being excluded from the ceremony. When your dog stations themselves at your feet during dinner, They are performing the oldest ritual in their species, confirming their place in the family. Not asking for a scrap, asking for something that has no clean translation into any human language. The certainty that they still belong. And now, the reason I've been building toward since the first second of this video. The one that explains every other reason. The one that changes what every meal means. 7. The question. Every owner thinks they know why their dog stares during meals. Hunger, habit, hoping for a bite. Most of them are wrong about all of it. Your dog isn't staring at your food. They're asking you a question. John Bradshaw, researcher at the University of Bristol's School of Veterinary Sciences and author of the most comprehensive academic study of dog cognition, documented that in a dog's neural architecture, the individual who provides food and the individual who provides safety are not separate concepts. They are neurologically fused. The first attachment bond a dog ever forms is with the individual who feeds them, their mother. And when they come into your home, that template transfers completely to you. Every meal you have ever given your dog has registered in their brain not merely as nutrition, but as confirmation. This person still wants me. Here. You don't need to share every meal. You don't need to change a single thing. But understand what happens in the moment you look up from your plate, meet their eyes, and reach down. You're not spoiling them. You're not reinforcing bad habits. In the only language available to them, you are answering the question they have been asking you every single night since the first day they came. Home, am I still yours? Do you still want me here? Do you still love me? And every time you reach down, every glance back, every smile across the table, you are telling them yes, still yes, always yes. That is not a scrap of food. That is the only answer that has ever mattered to them. Your dog isn't asking you to share every bite. They're not keeping score. They're not angry on the nights you don't reach down. They're doing something much simpler. They're showing up, the same way they always have, the same way they always will. The dog who appears the moment you pull out a chair, who watches your fork with those still, patient eyes, who lies down quietly after the first few minutes, knowing the world is safe, who scratches at the door the night you eat alone. They've been asking you the same question every single night in the only language available to them, and you've been answering it with every meal, every glance, every scrap you've ever reached down to give, without even knowing the conversation was happening. Now you know what question they're asking. The only question left is whether you're going to answer it on purpose. Every look is a question. Every kindness is an answer.